So it's great to see everybody here today. I'm Chris Cooney. I'm president of the Metro South Chamber of Commerce. It's a delight to be here and to gather during the holidays. We have the Rotary Club here with us as well, and the Cape Verdean Association, and a great program for you. It's my pleasure to welcome you to another edition of Good Day Metro South. It's so nice to be here at Thorny Lee Golf Club. I want to thank Rich Campbell, the general manager of Thorny Lee, as well as Sharon Guthrie for their support of today's program. Let's have a round of applause for them and all the staff here. As many of you know, the Chamber holds these programs very regularly. It is a terrific opportunity to come together, to reconnect with others, and to learn from interesting leaders in a variety of fields. I can come down a little bit to it. Today we are very pleased to be hosting Dr. Let me come down a little bit. Dr. Suarez Orozco, Chancellor of the University of Massachusetts, Boston, as well as Natalie Jean, who's Executive Director of the Brockton Redevelopment Authority, and Nick Giaquinto, Senior Economic Development Planner at the Old Colony Planning Council. We will hear from them a little bit later, but let's give them a round of applause for coming out today. We are also delighted to have Santa Claus with us today. I can hear him. He's heading back towards the buffet. Watch out, folks. That's Steve Damon from Jack Conway Company. Many of you know Steve. He's a longtime ambassador. Member of the... There's nobody under 12 here, right? Okay. And so he will be here. Thank you, Steve, for being here. You probably saw his truck out front. Santa's for hire, so if you have a company outing or a little kid's party or something, Steve is available and will be available for free after for photographs if you'd like one with your company just over by the tree. And those photos will be taken by Rich Morgan Photography, who's also a Rotarian and is with us today. Let's have a round of applause for Rich Morgan Photography. We also, our friend Rob DeFazio is here, who for many years provided the sound for chamber programs through his entertainment company. It now is with the Scouts. Well, let's see if I, yeah. With the Scouts BSA. Rob will lead us through some holiday-themed networking towards the end of the program. And of course, we're delighted to have with us Angela Gee from our December sponsor, Cambridge Savings Bank. Let's have a round of applause for Cambridge Savings Bank and Angela Gee. We have a very full program, so please enjoy your lunch while we continue the agenda. That's part of our program. We want to make best use of your lunchtime. At this time, I would like to request a moment of silence in honor of our armed service members who are on duty through the holidays, and also those who are impacted by war and unrest throughout the world. Thank you. It is now my pleasure to introduce our MC for today. Please join me in welcoming the chair of the Chamber's Board of Directors this year and fellow Rotarian, Rich Hines, president of Barber Corporation.
Thank you, Chris. Great to be here, and it's also great to see such a nice full room. You know, thank you all for your support of the Chamber, and obviously lots of Rotarians here as well. I'd like to start by thanking our Chamber ambassadors in attendance today. Brenda Cairns, OCES, Santa Claus, also known as Steve Damon, Jack Conway Real Estate, Mary Ellen Baker, HR Alternatives, Joanne Schneider, Eastern Bank, Catherine Light, Eastern Bank, Felicita Sepulveda, Cape Verdean Association, Suzanne Fernandez, Northeastern Savings Bank, and Mary Jane Anine, Combined Insurance of America. I also like to thank our Chamber board members in attendance today. Doug Smith and Ray D. Pasquale. Doug is with Stonehill College, and Ray D. Pasquale with Massasoit Community College. Finally, I'd like to thank our elected, selected, and state officials in attendance today. Michael Brady, Massachusetts State Senate. Rita Mendez, Massachusetts State Representative. Dr. James Cobb, Superintendent of Brockton Schools. Shirley Asek, Brockton City Council. Sidney M. Marrow, Chief of Staff, Mayor Bob Sullivan. Joe Rivers of Mass Development. And also two generous Chamber program sponsors sitting at the head table today. Jennifer Carey, Blue Cross Blue Shield. And Angela Gee, Cambridge Savings Bank. Round of applause. Today's program is being sponsored in part by Cambridge Savings Bank. Cambridge Savings Bank is a full-service banking institution with over $4 billion in assets. As a mutual bank, CSB is committed to improving the quality of life of its employees, customers, and the communities that it serves. One of the oldest and largest community banks in Massachusetts, Cambridge offers a full line of individual and business banking services and has branches located in 10 communities while being served locally by John Bobbin Commercial Bank Lender. Okay, now I'd like to introduce our host partner for this Good Day Metro South program, the Rotary Club of Brockton. And I want you to know this is... He's on his way. Okay, all right. Well, I'll say a few words about Rotary anyway. Jeff is going to be interviewed by Massa, or you want me to hold that and come back? Okay, all right, that sounds good. So, anyway, Rotary meets here 2 Thursdays per month in this building. And this is sort of, we like to look at this as a joint meeting, and we have quite a few Rotarians, probably about 20 Rotarians that are here, sitting at those 2 tables over there. So Rotary is a global network of 1.4 million neighbors, friends, leaders, and problem solvers who see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. Solving real problems takes real commitment and vision. For more than 110 years, Rotarians have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects, from literacy and peace to water and health. Rotarians are always working to better the world. And just an example of one of the greatest things that Rotary International has accomplished in the world. Think back 60 years ago how rampant polio was and how many people were paralyzed by polio. I remember when I went to school, you'd always see other kids that were paralyzed. Largely due to the efforts of Rotary International, polio has been almost completely eradicated around the world. And that is absolutely awesome. Polio only exists in 2 Middle Eastern... Polio exists in just 2 Middle Eastern countries, and that's Pakistan and Afghanistan. So this is just one of the biggest achievements that Rotary has accomplished over the years. So by a show of hands, all the Rotarians in the room, identify yourself. And you saw my hand raised. I have been a Rotarian myself for 45 years. Now, wait a minute, I know what you're thinking. I'm not that old. I was only 10 when I joined. Okay, so Masa, until Jeff comes, we're gonna, or you wanna come up, Tina? Okay, all right. So, Masa from Masa Kambabi and Kambabi Immigration Law will be our interviewer today. And pinch hitting for Jeff Charnell, who has not been able to make the meeting yet, is Tina White. Tina White is our immediate past president, was president last year. So go ahead, Masa.
Good afternoon, everyone. Jeff always likes to shake things up and keep us on our toes. And so thank you, Tina, for filling in. Basically, what we'd love to do is just learn a little bit more, in addition to what Rich has told us about the Rotary Club. My dad actually was a Rotarian many years ago, So I know a little bit about it and the great work you do, but why don't you tell us a little bit about the Brockton Club, maybe your past role in it and what you see coming in this new year with Jeff taking the helm as president.
Okay, hello. So our Rotary Club celebrated its 105th year anniversary last year, so we're working on 106 years. Brockton Rotary is well known in the community for all of the community events that we've been doing. Most recently, we rang the bells for Salvation Army. We've collaborated with the Charity Guild, and we do monthly food deliveries to senior housing. That has been really fulfilling for our members. And I feel like we do a lot of different things in the city. You see us around a lot. I'm not really sure what Jeff's vision is. I can tell you that as a club, we want to be relevant in the city. We want to provide help to the community in any way that we can. And we would love to have more chamber members join us. It's a great opportunity to network with your business, with other businesses and leaders in the city, and do some good events and activities, and really help the city of Brockton. We are the silent helpers, I think. A lot of times you hear about us or you see things, but we have so many great members that do so much for the city, and we would love for you to join us.
Thank you. And so could you come up with maybe what are you think the top 3 reasons are that folks would be interested in joining the Rotary Club?
So I think that the number one reason to join is for the fellowship and the networking opportunities. At any given lunch, we have plenty of visitors and speakers that come in and talk about different things, whether it has to do with the city, events that are happening, or just really neat human pieces in getting to learn about people in our community. I think that's the first and foremost why a lot of people join. I personally really enjoy the service aspect. I was a small business owner, one-woman show, and I wanted to help the community, but I didn't really know how. And I was lucky enough to be invited to a Rotary lunch, and I saw all of these people doing amazing things. And the first lunch I went to, they were collecting for food pantry. And I was like, oh, this is really what I want to get into, and I'm really interested in that. And I'm kind of, myself and Richard Hook are the co-chairs of our community service committee, and we really strive to do as many events that we can in the city. And I think the third part is, leadership and networking, and Rotary International provides a lot of different avenues for leadership growth. I myself am an assistant governor, and I get to go to trainings and learn more. And it's not just about Rotary; it also, reflects back into the, your business and the other activities in your life, family, and getting to be part of something bigger than yourself or your small little network.
Thank you. You've actually kind of touched upon, the next question was about that motto of service above self. Can you think of maybe like a project that you worked on that meant a lot to you during your year as president?
So we did a lot of projects my year. I was a little ambitious, not gonna lie. I would say the most rewarding one is actually our collaboration with the Charity Guild. Laura, the director there, called us in a pinch and said, do you think you could get a few members of the club to help me? It was like a Wednesday, and she needed help on a Saturday. I literally made 3 phone calls, and we had a whole group of people there on Saturday morning to help. And because of our willingness to help, her and I and a few of our other members joined, put our heads together and said, we should do this in a more organized way and not, fire drill. If we need help, call someone. So that's how we started doing our monthly food deliveries. We go to the Charity Guild, they pack our cars, we go over and we deliver food to Kennedy Drive, the senior housing over there. And it's about an hour worth of work on a Saturday morning. Start your day, you feel good, you're doing good. To me, that serves above self. It's not about me personally going over there, but it's about, helping folks who need help in another organization in the city that we were able to partner with, and again, that networking part of it, and be able to help them out as well.
Thank you, that sounds really fulfilling. And so you just talked about a little bit about that commitment, that about 1 hour a week on a Saturday, but in general, what kind of time commitment and cost commitment is there to join the Rotary for those who might be interested?
So we meet twice a month, usually the second and fourth Thursday for lunch. Sometimes we mix it up and maybe do a breakfast or we do a social outing. The cost of the meal is typically, I would say, I'm gonna ballpark $20 to $25. Our membership dues per year is $300, and there are other, events that pop up that, you're going to end up having to pay for, but it's not, you don't have to attend every single event. We do a lot of fundraising, we do a lot of good, we have a lot of fun. I would say those are the two main costs to be a member. We enjoy everybody to come to the meetings, but it's not always possible, so you can, fulfill your membership by also participating in the community events. We do try to do some fun social things, participate in parades, and, events like this, just to try to get, the word out and get people interested in hearing about Rotary. We're inclusive, we're inviting, you're all invited. You can be Lou Victor's guest. Him and I were just talking about this. But in all honesty, if you're interested, you can talk to any of the Rotarians that had their hands raised. We'd love to talk to you more, and you are all invited to join us.
Thank you so much. It sounds like an amazing group of caring people who love to spend time together and do good. So those of you interested, please reach out to Tina or anyone else here, and thank you. We have a token of our appreciation with a beautiful pen, and thank you for filling in for Jeff. Have a nice day.
Okay, thank you, Marcia. Now we're pleased to... Hey! Just in time, Jeff. Hello. I guess that one's dead now, and this is okay. Yeah, Jeff was the one. That's Jeff. He was supposed to be interviewed, see? Okay. Okay. Now we're pleased to welcome a couple of new and returning faces to be interviewed one at a time. Brockton Redevelopment Authority Executive Director Natalie Jean and former Mayor Bill Carpenter's Chief of Staff, Nick Gianquanto. Now with the Old Colony Planning Council, as a senior economic planner, Natalie Jean, the BRA's Executive Director, is an experienced leader who has implemented programs in housing, workforce, as well as community development. She last served as a Deputy Director for Special Projects and Budget Management at the Boston Planning and Development Agency. Natalie has deep experience with team management, innovative program development, and successful grant writing for federal, state, municipal, and private sources. She holds a BA in English from College of Holy Cross and a master's in urban and environmental policy and planning from Tufts University. In 2021, she completed Tufts Postmaster program in urban justice and sustainability. Her previous experience includes overseeing Massachusetts City's Community Development Department and serving as an administrator for another city's Community Development Office, both instances managing HUD grant funding. Natalie's work has attracted press coverage, and she has published articles including an op-ed reversing Massachusetts out-migration, which was published in the February Boston Business Journal. In 2017, Natalie won the National Community Development Association's Community Development Achievement Award for exemplary management of HUD funds. Please welcome Natalie Jean.
Hi, Natalie. Thank you for joining us. I am fascinated to hear about your master's in urban justice and sustainability. And it would be nice to learn something a little bit about you personally. I know sometimes we ask about like your favorite food or hobby. So take your pick in which order you'd like to talk about those.
So I decided to attend Tufts, and I earned my master's in urban and environmental policy and planning because I have been involved in working for community development organizations before I decided to go to grad school. I loved the work, but I was involved in the communications aspect. So I wanted to learn more and to understand the concepts behind building communities, building cities, and didn't just want to wing it by just getting in the field and not really understand what I was doing. So I went to school, and the focus there was urban, planning, as well as with an environmental focus. So I also had an interest in the boomer generation and its impact on, and their retirement's impact on the world and the US in particular. So my focus my first year was really on that. And then I just went through my courses and fulfilled all of the requirements. But I went in because I was exposed to the world of community development by working in it in communications. And then I transitioned by going to school to get the formal training to understand the work and do it well. My favorite food, I would say, is conch. I love it with rice and puree, like bean puree, and the combination is really awesome, so I love that.
We'll have to ask Thorny Lee if they can provide that. Well, what you talked about was really interesting about, you wanting to go back to school and then learning about, especially, I think, mixed income housing, especially with the growing elderly population, with younger people having a very difficult time finding affordable housing. In Massachusetts, your piece about the out-migration, because we see that with lots of young people moving out of Massachusetts and moving to some of the southern states. What can you tell us about the work that you're hoping to do in this coming year, and how are you going to solve this problem of mixed income housing?
I think by continuing the work that the BRA has always done. For example, we do housing rehab work, and I think that work improves the housing stock and the appearance of the community. So I think as long as I continue to do public improvement projects with HUD funds that we receive, do facade improvement projects, I think that type of work will attract people to Brockton so that it's beautiful in their eyes and they want to live here. In terms of the out-migration problem, I sometimes wonder whether it's still the same with the influx of migrants that we've had recently, how that is impacting my point of view, and I wrote my op-ed back in February. But I think that people are attracted to beauty and as well as a good quality of life if we continue to provide amenities that people will use and enjoy if they were to move here, and also to continue to make the community just visibly beautiful and appeasing to the eye. People will move to Brockton, they'll want to be here. And then in terms of housing itself, it's just a conundrum. It's not a simple topic that can be discussed here and we come to a conclusion about really what's necessary. But I'm definitely willing to do my part by working with all of the resources that the BRA offers to the community, and hopefully that will help to sort of put a dent in the problem and the level of it.
We look forward to seeing the good work that you plan to do. And so, is there anything in your background and your journey to where you've now found yourself that you feel is going to be particularly helpful in the work that you're going to do? And what are you most excited about for this new position?
I'm grateful for the fact that I'm multilingual. I speak French Creole. I was born in Haiti. I speak French Creole. I speak some French, and of course English. So I think that is a benefit to the community, because just yesterday I was called upon to translate for the office because my language skills were needed. So I think that's a plus. And then in terms of projects that I'd like to see us continue, something that I've rolled out is called the Umuganda Challenge, and it's to address homelessness in the community. And I do it because we do have a mandate at the BRA to work on homelessness, to help dissipate it. That's always been a standing mission of any community that receives HUD funding. And so that was rolled out last month. And since then, one of the developers that attended actually organized a food drive, and so there has been results that have been directly connected to the introduction of the challenge. We want to continue it. And then something that could be seen as controversial, but that I think would be beneficial to Brockton is linkage fees. A lot of our work focuses on development, and linkage fees, I feel, are tell developers that there is more to just coming in to build housing in a community and making profit, that they have to make an investment. If they, and the linkage fees can be structured in different ways, but they would definitely create a pot where that could be used for the community. For example, in Boston, the pot is split into 16% goes towards a neighborhood housing, a neighborhood jobs trust, and then the other portion for affordable housing development. It could be divvied up in different ways, so not necessarily in the same way, but I think we need to start also creating monetary benefits and resources for the community through development when it happens here, especially large developments, so that the developers are making a real investment that also comes out of their pocket beyond just the profit they eventually make from building their facilities.
Thank you. These sound like very deep community ties and investments that you'll want to work on, and so we thank you for that. I know that in general, when it comes to businesses, when it comes to new people moving to our communities, it is an investment. It takes all of us some time and some energy and some love to show to our new neighbors and to welcome them to our communities and to work with them so that they will eventually be wonderful, rich additions to our community. So thank you for your work. We look forward to seeing all of the good things to come. And we have a token of appreciation for you as well. It's a lovely Metro South pen. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcia. And thank you, Natalie Jean. That was great. It's now my pleasure to introduce Nick Giaquanto, Old Colony Planning Council. Nick is a lifelong resident of Plymouth County. He joined Old Colony Planning Council earlier this year as a senior economic development planner. Prior to coming to OCPC, Nick was operations officer at Mass Development for the Transformative Development Institute, also called TDI, an innovative neighborhood-based economic development accelerator which collaborates with cross-sector partnerships to engage communities in actionable planning and spur public and private investment. Additionally, and you probably remember this, Nick served in the city of Brockton for 6 years working under former Mayor Bill Carpenter in various positions, including his chief of staff. Nick also worked as a legislative committee staffer for Massachusetts House of Representatives in both the House Committee on Ways and Means and Joint Committee on Labor and Workforce Development at the Massachusetts State House. As Senior Economic Development Planner, Nick is responsible for delivering technical expertise to communities in the OCPC network that will foster economic growth and sustainability within the region. Nick serves as a point of contact and staff to Regional SEDS Committee, as well as leads and co-leads numerous project management development planning narratives, formulating growth-oriented policies and strategies, producing grant funding applications, and coordinating civic engagement efforts. Please welcome Nick Giaquanto.
Thank you for coming, Nick. I look forward to hearing a little bit about yourself beyond the wonderful things that Rich has told us about your background. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I guess I'll start by saying, you've officially made it when you're invited to speak at a Metro South Chamber event. So I don't know about anyone else, but this has been on my bucket list for a while. So I know a lot of folks in the room from my time working with Mayor Carpenter. I was with him for 6 years. The last few as his chief of staff, and he was a really good guy. Great mayor for the city to have, and never seen something come so natural for somebody in that job. It was very eerie, but great to see, great to be a part of. If I go way back to my early days, just out of college, I had started working at the State House, and actually before that, I was interning at the State House for 4 years, and then it kind of landed me at the State House doing some policy work there. And, I had some good times there and had some great experience understanding policy and primarily being responsible for moving bills out of committee. So, and with House Ways and Means, that's a little bit of a different experience because you have to coordinate with House leadership and the House Speaker on a lot of stuff, but it was a great experience to have. After that, I really wanted to get some more hands-on grassroots experience. Legislative stuff, very conceptual. So I wanted to do something else, and I didn't know Mayor Carpenter, but I was following the campaign in 2013 between Mayor Carpenter and Mayor Belzotti, and I liked a lot of what the mayor was talking about, and I found a way to track him down. I didn't know him. I found out that he was attending a fundraiser in Boston for somebody else, and I cornered him off an elevator. Told him that I'd be interested in working for him, and him and I kind of hit it off. So wound up working for him for 6 years, and then you know, when I got out of the city after the mayor had passed away, I was I think I had the opportunity to do some policy work in the governor's office, but a lot of people were kind of pushing me to go in the direction of economic development, given what I had been a part of and what we were able to accomplish here. And I did that so I went over to Mass Development at TDI and kind of used that as a pulpit for refining my knowledge about economic development and use it generally and to develop an expertise for the subject and some of the concepts. And at TDI, if you're familiar with the concept of a business accelerator, this is really kind of like that, but for specific neighborhoods in these small to mid-sized post-industrial gateway cities across the state. So in that program, I was responsible for managing on-the-ground work in 13 different neighborhoods in 13 different cities across the state. So that was great, and when an opportunity came around to sort of do what I was doing in mass development, but to come back and focus on that type of work, but back at home, it was a no-brainer for me.
So tell us about like all of that work that you've done leading up to now. How are you, like what are you most excited about in the work that you're going to be doing with Old Colony Planning Council? But actually maybe first if you could tell us all about what does Old Colony Planning Council do?
Sure, so Old Colony Planning Council is a regional planning agency for this area, so our neck of the woods over here. I like to describe it as the northern part of southeastern Massachusetts, which isn't our tagline. I use that when I need to describe it to people. But at OCPC, we really provide planning services and assistance to communities in our network for large-scale transportation projects, for large-scale economic development, which I'm involved in. And so if you're thinking about the 17 communities we represent, I'm looking at it from a geographic perspective. So you have Avon and Stoughton up here, and if you draw an arrow from Avon and Stoughton southeast to Plymouth, it kind of captures everything in that area. So the Bridgewaters, Whitman, Hanover, Pembroke, Brockton, Plymouth, Kingston, all those places. So what I'm excited about, I think first off, I think Old Colony Planning Council is really, for lack of a better phrase, is on steroids right now. We went from 15 staff members to 25, and you know, part of the reason for that is because we're bringing in so many dollars, and we're applying to lots of things, and we're getting lots of things. And I think one of the things that I'm excited about, and one of the things that drew me into Old Colony was that they have kind of a unique way to go about things. I come back, it's working. What makes or breaks a regional planning council or regional planning agency, I think, is I think some agencies like to operate by waiting to hear from communities based on their needs and what they need at any given time. But I think what's interesting to me about Oak Colony is that we kind of are doing things in reverse. We have a shopping list. We're going out into these communities, driving around and trying to match opportunities with programs and money. So I think OCPC has a really unique way of sort of backing into a project by having foundational knowledge about the programs that exist and then putting the puzzle pieces together to make a project successful. And you know, as long as I've been involved in public service and in government, it's always been work and passion have always been sort of the same thing to me. So I knew, so I'm very familiar with hustle culture, and that's sort of continued over at OCPC, and we're doing a lot of great work, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
Well, thank you, Nick. We look forward to all of the great work that you and the organization will be doing, and I can't find my pen for you. Here it is. Here's a token of our appreciation. Thank you for coming. Glad you finally got this off your bucket list. But last thing, what is your favorite food so that we can try to get the staff here to consider adding it to their menu?
Eggplant parm.
Good one. Thank you very much, Nick.
Thank you, Martha and Natalie and Nick. It's been a pleasure. We look forward to working with you in the year ahead. See if I can. Can you hear? No. This might be better. Okay. It's now my pleasure to welcome the new Chancellor of the University of Massachusetts, Boston, Dr. Marcelo Suarez Orozco. Marcelo Suarez Orozco is the 9th permanent and current Chancellor of the University of Massachusetts, Boston, and he's the very first Latino to lead a campus in the Massachusetts public university system. He is the former inaugural UCLA Wasserman Dean at UCLA Graduate School of Education and Informational Studies. Chancellor Orozco assumed the role of Chancellor of the University of Mass during the pandemic. And prior to coming to UMass Boston, Dr. Suarez Orozco served as the inaugural UCLA Wasserman Dean, leading 2 academic departments, 16 nationally renowned research institutes, and 2 innovative demonstration schools at UCLA's Graduate School of Education and Informational Studies. His research focuses on cultural psychology and psychological anthropology with an emphasis on education, globalization, and migration. His award-winning books and edited volumes have been published by Harvard University Press, Stanford University Press, University of California Press, Cambridge University Press, New York University Press, and others. A member of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences, currently serving in the Governance and Trust Board, the National Academy of Education, trustee of the Carnegie Foundation for the Advancement of Teaching, member of the Board of Advisors of the Thomas Mann House, recipient of the Mexican Order of Aztec Eagle, Dr. Suarez Orozco has served as a special advisor to the Chief Prosecutor, the International Criminal Court, The Hague, the Netherlands. In January 2018, His Holiness Pope Francis appointed Suarez Orozco to the Executive Committee of the Pontifical Academy of Social Sciences, and the Carnegie Corporation of New York named him a great immigrant, great American. An immigrant from Argentina, Dr. Suarez Orozco is a product of the California Master Plan, having studied in community college at the University of California, Berkeley, where he received his A.B., M.A., and Ph.D., which was in anthropology, in 1986. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Suarez Orozco.
Wow, thank you. That's the introduction my father would have liked, and my mother would have believed. Beautiful. Thank you so much. it's so wonderful to be here in this beautiful, majestic setting, celebrating fellowship. I'm so delighted by the opportunity to talk about what was once, but is no longer, the best kept secret in higher education, the University of Massachusetts, Boston. I want to first thank Board Chair, Sir Heinz, Chris Cooney, and the rest of the amazing Metro South Chamber of Commerce team for the warm, kind invitation to speak here today. And I'm double touched here as a child who grew up in Argentina, where my father served as a Rotarian for over 40 years. And Rick, I remember vividly my father's endeavor when there were floods in Argentina, when there was fires, the vaccine endeavor. It was so central to his identity, the giving back, the idea of responsible citizenship. And in these wicked times, we need engaged citizens working for the common good. I also want to acknowledge my colleagues here in the room. I want to acknowledge President Ray DePasquale of the great Massasoit Community College. I'm a product of the community college. This is a uniquely American idea, and it's a beautiful idea. It's a beautiful idea. And Dr. James Cobbs, acting superintendent of the Brockton schools. UMass Boston has a long history of welcoming students from Massasoit and from the Brockton public schools. And I am grateful for your leadership and our continuing partnership. As we say in the old country, muchas, muchas gracias. It's an amazing partnership. I look forward to visiting and learning more about how we can do better serving our transfer students. I'm meeting you for the first time since becoming chancellor here, August 2020, so place yourself. Who moves across the country in the middle of the most wicked pandemic in the last 100 years? I gave the President me and my ward, and I made the schlep from LA back to the Commonwealth. And it was a challenge. That's when we were washing everything with Clorox. I'm going to get cancer from all the Clorox I ate washing everything with Clorox. What did we know? I'll tell you a little bit about my journey, and then I'll tell you about our amazing campus. I grew up in a small town outside of Buenos Aires, Argentina. A child of school teachers, public school teachers. When I was a teenager, my parents, my mother, may she rest in peace, saw the dark clouds gathering as Argentina's dirty war threatened so many lives. My mother recognized that the only way to ensure my future was to send me to America for freedom. To our colleague who studies immigration, it's about freedom. It's about financial opportunity. It's about family. Those are the 3 F's of migration in the 21st century. And so as a 17-year-old kid who spoke no English. One of my colleagues at Harvard said, I was a professor at Harvard for many years, he said, Marcelo, you still don't speak English. No English, nothing. I enrolled in the California community college system, the great Diablo Valley College in Northern California. Eventually, I transferred through the endeavors of my professors in the community college to the other great public research university in our country, the University of California, Berkeley. And that's the beginning of my journey. The extraordinary generosity of our country, taking in immigrants and giving them extraordinary opportunities. To make ends meet during my years as a student, I did every job. I did every job in the book. I swept floors. I painted walls. I am fortunate to have enjoyed a tremendous career in education, both in the classroom, as a teacher, as a researcher, in administrative leadership. I have never forgotten my roots. Just before being named chancellor at UMass Boston, I served for nearly a decade as the dean of UCLA's oldest and highest ranked school. The other deans didn't like it when I said that. You can look it up. I've also served as a tenure professor at Harvard University, where my wife of 49 years is currently a professor. Coming back to the Commonwealth was a dream, was a journey. And I tell you this with humility, because none of these experiences compare to my current responsibilities at UMass Boston. My entire professional and personal life, in a basic way, has been preparing for the challenges, for the enormous responsibility and the great, great honor I have. Education, public education, is a vital public good, essential for the flourishing of all human beings and for the formation of responsible, engaged citizens. In my case, these weren't just abstract ideas. It's a journey that my life embodies. Reflecting on my migration to America, my career, I believe that my journey embodies the best of that pure American dream in so many fundamental ways. And more than anything else, I have learned the transformative, life-changing power of public education. The idea of public education is an idea that first formed in the neural pathways of a citizen of the Commonwealth. That idea spread around the world for its beauty. The notion that education should be free, non-denominational, compulsory for all. It's the idea that the great Horace Mann in the great city of Boston first articulated, an idea uniquely American that traveled and changed the world. UMass Boston, in a fundamental way, embodies that vision. Last year, we released our 10-year strategic plan for the times to advance our mission of becoming a leading anti-racist health-promoting institution dedicated to student success, dedicated to community engagement, dedicated to the common good. It is, I believe, a plan that highlights diversity as a cornerstone of knowledge creation and our commitment to impactful research, teaching that serves the greater good, tackles the great, great challenges of our times, from unchecked climate change, exacting untold suffering around the world. This is perhaps the most important work that I also have the great honor of doing after the call from the Holy Father, Pope Francis, to help us get in front of this crisis that threatens all living systems on Earth today. UMass Boston's new agenda is animated by an ethic of care for and solidarity for all, especially the least in power amongst us. It's an ethic of dignity and justice. It is an ethic of service to others. I see us advancing this agenda in three fundamental ways. First, education for the future. We are forging an education for the future that is timely and is urgent. I suspect you all know that in the great Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the only segment of the population that is growing at this time, at a time, as our colleague noted, where we see net out migration from the Commonwealth, the only net gain to our population is happening in immigrant families of color. Over 80% of the growth moving forward, demographically speaking, will come from that demographic. We are a rapidly aging population, below replacement fertility rates. The only sector of the population that is growing is our immigrant origin segment. That's our Latine, including our Brazilian and our Cape Verdean populations. I have a very big idea of what the Latine world really is about. Also our Asian American population and our Afro-Caribbean population. A third of all blacks, the city of Boston today, are immigrant. A third. Indeed, our current K-12 students are the most diverse cohort of young people in the history of the Commonwealth. And this is the new normal. 40% of the little kids that got up this morning in Berlin, Germany, 40% come from non-German refugee and immigrant origin homes. That is not your grandpa's Berlin. That's another Berlin. Rotterdam, Amsterdam, and The Hague. As Rick noted, I had the privilege of serving as the inaugural advisor on education to the chief prosecutor of the ICC, which is in The Hague. The Hague, Amsterdam, Rotterdam, the largest port in the heart of Europe, 2/3 of the children in those cities come from non-Dutch immigrant and refugee origin homes. Where the great Commonwealth of Massachusetts, where the great city of Brockton, where the great city of Boston is going, that is the demography of the future. I was a dean at UCLA. Let me give you a Hollywood metaphor here. We're coming to a neighborhood near you. You know, this is like the movies. That's the demography. It's coming to a neighborhood near you. This is the future of our country. This trend has made UMass Boston the most diverse campus in New England and the third most diverse campus in the United States of America. Most of our beacons drawn from public schools in districts like Brockton and community colleges like Massasoit are first generation students, like yours truly. The first in their families to go to college, often from immigrant origin homes. And I will tell you that the grit, the ganas, if you don't speak Spanish, somebody in your table can translate that for you. The ganas, the grit, just the drive, the smarts, the wanting to do better for their families, the hunger to learn, the hunger to do better for themselves, for their families, for their communities, is an extraordinary asset. They are what makes us at UMass Boston unique in comparison to every other higher education institution in this great city. And I know because I taught at one of them for many years. UMass Boston is resolute in trusting the power of education, trusting the power of education to move immigrant origin students and students from historically underrepresented communities to the next level of excellence, of service, of giving back. If we don't educate them and ease their transition to citizenship, to the labor market of the 21st century, we are not doing our job. I tell this to the governor every time I meet with her. And we're blessed with an amazing governor. We're blessed with an amazing lieutenant governor. I'm going to see her tomorrow again. I tell this to the mayor. Hey, I'll tell this to whoever's in front of me. We have to educate the next generation. That's it can't be a happy future for the Commonwealth without a happy future for the students we serve. At its core, college is where young people begin to explore the world. They begin to acquire knowledge. They begin to acquire the habits of the mind and the habits of the heart, to be engaged citizens, to be productive citizens, like the Rotarians in the room, to give back. They learn about themselves, all essential to preparing them for careers and for life. At UMass Boston, this means many things, ensuring they have professors and mentors who understand, who care, who give their all to their success, challenging them to find, to struggle with the big ideas, with the big challenges of our times, encourage them to learn from diverse life experiences, their own and that of their peers, to help them grow in confidence as students and as people. In part, this entails shaping academic programs that contribute to building communities of compassion and cultivating the skills and the norms we need to support the project of democratic citizenship in these very challenging times. At UMass Boston, it is central to who we are. We thrive as a community of scholars, faculty, students, staff, who learn from each other and from their lived experiences. And we look at everything we do through an equity lens, eliminating barriers to learning and fostering the success of all our students. So, as I often say, there cannot be a happy future for the Commonwealth if we are not doing our job educating the next generation. In Boston, I also like to say, immigration is both history, is the story of how our city and how our Commonwealth came to be. Other than the native peoples, everybody else came here either voluntarily or involuntarily. In Boston, that's our history. In the Commonwealth, that is our destiny, when the only sector of the population growing now are the kids growing up in immigrant-headed households. A word about partnering with the business communities. A word about building workforce pipelines. Without economic vitality, we can't fulfill the promise of democratic citizenship. We recognize that UMass Boston can be a powerful catalyst for workforce development and economic growth. We understand that our academic programs in a variety of domains, from nursing and healthcare to artificial intelligence and information engineering, climate change mitigation, can and must advance our priorities and the economic interests of our city and of our Commonwealth. Small businesses are the vertebrae of our economy. They are the vertebrae of our civic and economic musculature. And if you remember your anatomy, without the vertebrae, you're useless. And in today's innovation economy, universities, together with businesses and with government, can offer programs that deepen college curricula and help prepare skilled, dynamic workforce for the realities of the changing workforce of the 21st century. For example, we've launched Best Boston, a pilot program to develop a pipeline of talented and diverse business young students, professionals, while helping contribute to the economic vitality of our region. Through Best Boston, we select UMass Boston students. They have a unique opportunity to gain experience in business, consulting, tracking real-world business challenges, and helping develop plans for small businesses to succeed. And as many of you know, the Boston Planning and Development Commission recently approved zoning for Dorchester Bay City, a gigantic project earlier this fall. This is a green light for next steps in a mixed-use development that promises to further revitalize Dorchester and advance our shared vision of smart, sustainable growth and generate broad economic benefits for our community through attracting investment in the life sciences, in healthcare, in STEM-related fields. What I would like to see for UMass Boston students is to have the entire ecology of opportunities for internships, for pathways to work in Dorchester Bay City that students in other universities around Boston, I can't name the school because my wife won't let me, their students take those opportunities for granted. Community and engagement and our work for the city. Third, our connection to the greater Boston region. If I can encapsulate everything I've said today, my priority for UMass Boston is to be a university of and for these extraordinary times. We're committed to working with the city of Boston, the city of Brockton, and cities throughout the Commonwealth, with our mayors, with Governor Healy and their respective administrations to address complex issues and serve towards the common good. This calls us to collaborate with community partners, with businesses, nonprofits, community groups, all working towards the greater good. My friends from Metro South, I give you UMass Boston 2.0. 1 minute. I think 2 minutes. Today, when we think about education, we think of curiosity. We think of the ability to come in dialogue, in conversation, often with others who don't share our perspectives. How do we give the tools to our students, to the next generation, to take on the practice of democratic citizenship in ways that are smart, that are informed, and with a sense of the common good? That is the beauty of an education in the 21st century.
UMass Boston was created to serve an urgent need for accessible, quality higher education for Boston residents and underserved populations. 60 years later, we continue to serve with a renewed commitment to our students, our city, and the Commonwealth, aspiring to be a national leader in building an anti-racist and health-promoting public research university.
Hi, I'm Ashanti McLean, a second-year environmental studies and sustainability student at UMass Boston.
Let me tell you a little about this amazing university. It starts with our people, an incredible community of human beings who believe that education is the route to a more just, humane, and sustainable world. UMass Boston works hard to foster an inclusive campus culture, a place where everyone feels like they belong. We are the most diverse college campus in New England, and the third most diverse in the US. 66% of our students identify as BIPOC, or Black, Indigenous, and people of color. 55% are the first in their family to go to college, and our student body represents 136 countries. The opportunity to learn from different perspectives here is unparalleled. We are experiencing an incredible shift in the way we serve our campus community, Greater Boston, and the world. For the first time in our history, UMass Boston has these pillars in place. World-renowned, permanent leadership across our academic colleges, senior administration, and student affairs. Financial stability and a growing endowment with significant donor gifts sparking new opportunities. Unprecedented expansion plans, including a multi-acre sustainable green quad opening in 2024, and a new campus master plan with opportunities for additional classrooms, residence halls, welcoming community spaces, and connections to the city and the sea.
UMass Boston is no longer the best kept secret in higher education. We are setting the pace, and we're thinking bigger than ever before.
Through our teaching, research, and community service, we're tackling some of the most vexing challenges of our time, like climate equity, disparities in healthcare, inclusive education for people of all abilities, and racial and social justice. We are proud of our first in the nation green chemistry PhD, our research on protecting Boston from sea level rise, our rooftop solar array on the West Garage, and our new energy plan to reach carbon neutrality by 2050. Our academic endeavors reach beyond our campus borders to tackle current issues, from the recently launched Paul English Institute focused on artificial intelligence to state-of-the-art nursing simulations providing future leaders to Boston's 4 teaching hospitals, and our New Balance partnership for innovative leadership in sport. We've secured more than $74 million in total philanthropic achievements in just the past 2 years. Last year, the university conducted $61.1 million in research, generated $1.2 billion in economic activity, and created over 5,000 jobs. The community engagement work we do, together with nonprofits, businesses, and local government, elevates Boston in so many ways. We're focused on the big picture, but also the individual.
We nurture the well-being of everyone so that we could be at our very best.
UMass Boston, truly a university for the times. Thank you so much for the honor of addressing all of you. Felices fiestas. Happy holidays. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Suarez Orozco. Great presentation. As a small token of our appreciation, you get a chamber pen.
Beautiful. Can't never had too many pens.
And they're good pens, too.
I love it. They're good pens. Thank
Yep.
you.
Thank you so much. Okay, now it's time for a little bit of holiday fun, okay? If you've been in the chamber for a while, you probably know him as DJ Rob Peters. But these days, he goes by the name of Rob DeFazio, a membership and unit service executive with the Mayflower Council of the Boy Scouts of America. The Mayflower Council serves 63 communities and towns, including the majority of the towns and cities that the chamber serves as well. So Rob recently has been working in improving the presence of the Cub Scouts here in Brockton by adding a new club, a new scout pack in conjunction with VFW Post 1046, which is open to kids in Brockton in grades K through 5. Now, Rob has scaled back his entertainment company now. He used to do a lot of weddings, and he's not doing weddings anymore. But don't worry, he's not going away. He's still going to be entertaining at non-wedding events. And you can still enjoy Rob's entertainment as he hosts weekly trivia at Emma's in Bridgewater, and that's every Tuesday night throughout December. And then starting in January, Crazy Axes at Patriot Place. Please welcome Rob Peters DeFazio, who will help us discover the gift of networking this afternoon.
Thank you. So for those of you that have seen me work before, I don't really like these. I like to move around. So happy holidays, everybody. I'm going to kind of find my sweet spot here. So I'm going to give you a story, and then we're going to have a little bit of fun, okay? About 6 years ago, I was in a networking group, and my networking group was a private group. It wasn't affiliated with the chamber. And in that group were a lot of businesses. I generally tend to be the square peg in the round hole when it came to what I was doing at that point in time, because no DJ went to a networking event. So what winds up happening is we go in and there's a lot of bankers and realtors and a lot of, I guess you could say a lot of white collar businesses that we normally wouldn't do day-to-day business with. So what winds up happening is I was discouraged and I was ready to quit. And what wound up happening was the owner of this particular club said to me, listen, just stick it out for a week, and remember, don't judge a book by its cover. Because there weren't a lot of event people in this group, I was ready to walk away. The next week, she introduces me to a guy who ran a hedge fund. And I'm like, what am I going to network with this guy over? And as the course of conversation, he says to me, well, my wife's on this board for this gala. Do you do entertainment for galas? If I had walked away from, or not talked to this gentleman from a hedge fund, I booked a $2,000 gala for DJ and photo booth in one particular thing. So today, for networking, you all should have received by now a Hershey Kiss from our ambassadors. Your mission, and I hope you'll all accept it, because the gift you're getting today is a connection that might not be the way the book cover looks. You are going to stand up and you are going to go find somebody in the room that does something that you probably wouldn't have value in direct networking with. And at least adding them to your circle so that maybe they don't have a wife that does $2,000 or $5,000 galas, right? But maybe they know somebody that might need you down the road. Okay, make sure you swap your business cards. Make sure you have fun. And remember 3 things if you need something to talk about today. We're around the holidays. And what do we know the most about the holidays? It's about food, it's about memories, and it's about tradition. So feel free to use those 3 things as conversation starters. So everybody up? Everybody stand on up? I have people blocking the front door so you can't leave. Match the color. Oh, by the way, when you make a connection, as part of your conversation, you may unwrap and enjoy your Hershey's Kiss. Enjoy, everybody. We'll be back with you in a couple minutes. I'm going to ask everybody, if you don't mind, clap your hands once. Everybody. Clap your hands twice. Clap your hands 3 times. Now, if you have kids, you know that means that we need silence, right? And if you were in Cub Scouts, you know what this means. All right. So folks, before you leave, we do have some closing announcements that we want to get to. I would like to wish you all happy holidays. Richard, come on up. The floor is now yours. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, that was nice.
Okay. It's that time. It's the save the dates time for the meeting, okay? So get your calendars out. Friday, January 26th, there'll be a luncheon at Stonehill College with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts, Housing Secretary Edward August, and Chris Bond, Small Business Valuation Specialist. Okay. Annual City of Brockton update featuring Mayor Bob Sullivan along with other elected officials will be Thursday, February 15th. And finally, the 9th Annual Multicultural Business Forum and Expo here at Thorny Lee from 5 to 7:30, Thursday, February 29th. The program is being sponsored in part by Northeastern Savings Bank and features a diverse panel of several small business owners. And as you know, each Good Day Metro South will randomly select one company to be highlighted in the upcoming Action newsletter. Okay. Prize number 1, Michael Rago, Massasoit Community College. Prize number 2, Tremenda Martin, OCES. Prize number 3, Steve Findlin, Howard Stein Hudson. Prize number 4, Cindy Pendergast, Neighborhood Works Housing Solutions. Prize number 5, Tom McGrath Architect. Prize number 6, Robert Cole, One Digital. And finally, prize number 7, the final one, Simone Delfonse, Mass Hire Greater Brockton Career Center. Okay, so those of you who had your names drawn, please see Naldo Cardoso on your way out at the checkout table out there. I want to say a few thank yous. Today's ambassador team, Rich Morgan Photography, Brockton Community Access Channel, the Enterprise News, of course the Chamber staff members, our host, Thorny Lee Golf Club, our sponsors and partners, Cambridge Savings Bank and the Rotary Club of Brockton. And finally, thank you to our speakers, Natalie Jean, B.R. Ray, Nick Gianquento, Old Colony Planning Council, Tina White, Rotary Club of Brockton, Rob DeFazio of the Scouts BSA, interviewer Masa Kambabe, Dr. Suarez Orozco, Chancellor of the University of Massachusetts, Boston, and of course, Santa Claus, aka Steve Damon. The scratch tickets on the tables right in front of you. You're free to take those home, and good luck. What about the bags there? Oh yes, yeah. The centerpiece bags, okay. It contains a long sleeve T-shirt, "Where Better Begins," Brockton, okay. So the person at the table whose birthday is closest today is the winner of that red bag. And folks, thanks for coming. That concludes our program. Have a wonderful weekend, and of course, happy holidays.